Some unfortunate missed shots, some unfortunate moments down the stretch. That's a really good team we just played. They've been in the playoffs together a lot. They played in a lot of close games, and just really, really proud of the way that our guys battled all night long. I thought they executed on both ends of the court. Credit to Denver. I thought they actually made a ton of tough 2-point jump shots. Some of those go down as paint points, but those are not at the rim. That's a really good team we just played, and I thought our team represented themselves very, very well.
You've talked about how the game changes in the clutch late. What did you see from your team in those moments?
Yeah, turnovers late in the game continues to be something that we're struggling with. I don't think that our intent is bad. A lot of the turnovers are passing turnovers. But I think, in certain moments we have to understand time and score and, what's a high risk pass and what's not. But I never doubt our team's intent to play together. I think we executed a lot of stuff down the stretch that we wanted to. I think some guys got some good looks and missed, but turnovers late in quarters and late in games, continues to be something that we're emphasizing, because especially late in the game, you just don't have time to make it up. We gotta find a way to get good shots down the stretch. Yeah.
And how would you evaluate Nickeil tonight? A lot.
Mm-hmm. I think Nickeil overall played a very good game. Again, in his position, taking care of the ball is something that's always going to be an emphasis. And, back to what I was saying before, I think Nickeil's intent to play with his teammates is very, very good. I think most of his turnovers are passing turnovers. And so I think he's doing a pretty good job making the right read more times than not. Sometimes the ball doesn't necessarily get delivered on target, but he works really hard at it. And I love the way that Nickeil approaches the game. I think he competes on both ends really, really hard. I don't think that he plays with tunnel vision. I think that he's really trying to involve his teammates and be a part of the group. So, that's a credit to him. He's stayed ready all year. He works really hard with our assistant coaches, watches a lot of film. He's a really good young player.
It's one of the first times you've seen Leo Bomaro for that long.
Mm-hmm.
Just what do you see from his game in general, and where is he in terms of his development?
Leo is a developing guard. I think we see Leo as probably a primary handler, like a point guard. He thinks pass first for sure. His defense is very good. He guards the ball well. He navigates screens well. I don't know what it is about Argentina, but every Argentinian that I've ever been around is an absolute crazy person and competes every possession like it's the last possession of their life. And Leo does that. His energy from the second he steps on the floor is contagious to the group. I think he's somebody, for everybody to pay attention to moving forward. He spends a bunch of time in the G League right now to try to get a lot of game minutes, but his fire, his mental makeup, his passion for the game is, what we're looking for in our program. He represents a lot of the things that we're trying to represent as an organization.
How did you feel like you guys did against Jokic when you had multiple guys on him and you were kind of switching things up at times?
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's the 2-time MVP for a reason. He just has such good footwork and such good patience. His size for us can be a problem. I think we threw a lot of different guys at him. I think late our activity was very good on him, forcing some turnovers. But it's easy for me to sit here and say I wish our guys guarded him better. There's some moments that are just hard. Walker came to the bench at one point and said, I'm trying really hard. And dude, I get it. He's the 2-time MVP. you are trying really hard, and keep trying hard, because this is part of your growth. And, he ended up getting a block on him on one possession, which, shows that it can be done. But, his mind is special. He just understands spacing. He understands where his teammates are. He knows when to shoot and when to pass. And, that's why he ends up with 31 points and 14 assists. It's always a conversation in coaches' meetings. Do you want to double him, or do you want to try to make him score? Because neither one is a good answer. He's just such an elite player in all ways offensively. You go double, he makes you pay with the pass. You stay home, he's really just found such a great rhythm in the post over the last 3-4 years of his career as a scorer. So he's a tough cover, and credit to him. He played a great game tonight.
More Jazz post game on the way. THT switching gears, getting to the rack, and one. We're proud of who you got better when we come back.
Hey, thanks for working through the holidays.
Clara, that's...
So the Jazz come up short in Denver, completely depleted, and really not what I was expecting from tonight. I thought it was going to be a slaughter. I know we were making bets before, not bets, but saying the over under 20 points. And I said under just because I think that we have fight. And that's one thing that this team for sure has, is they will fight the entire game. And tonight it felt like they played really free. It felt like everybody had the green light. Nobody was worried about making mistakes. There were mistakes made, but overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this game. The ending was a little bit rough, obviously, and throughout the game, I said, maybe we need to make like a mixtape or a video mixtape of all the calls that are not called, and just make that thing go viral. It probably won't change anything for the NBA, but at least it would make us Jazz fans feel a little bit better. If you saw on my Twitter, I just posted, Coach at the end was furious. He went over and called out, I believe, the head referee, called him out, said, you missed 4, maybe it was 4 seconds. You ruined the game. Good effing job. And I think that's how a lot of Jazz fans feel tonight. Not that, we were supposed to win by any means, but it would have just been nice to have a fair chance without the refs being a narrative once again. I really hate talking about the refs, but it's getting to the point where it feels really bad, especially like that moving screen that they didn't call on Balmero, where he got that Charlie horse and then had to come out of the game. I don't believe he even came back in. Like they call that foul on Kessler all the time, and I feel like it's because he's a rookie. Some positives, though. I mean, Nah has a career night, I believe. I don't know if this is his career high. I would imagine that it is. 27 points, shoots 56% from the field, 50% from the three-point line, and 80% from the free throw. Has 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. He had a really nice block. And also THT, I feel like, had a season high. I'm not sure that's his career high. He might have, I'm pretty sure he has a higher career as far as points go. But I loved when those two were on the floor, because we've talked about who's better, Nickeil Alexander-Walker or THT. And honestly, I just think they're both competing for a spot. And tonight, with them both on the floor, made them perform better. It was almost as if they were competing against each other, but oddly enough, it made them play better. So really fun to see those guys tonight. Ochai hit a few big shots. I think he has some defensive potential, and I also tweeted, I'd rather just see Ochai play at this point over Rudy Gay. Even if he's not the player that Rudy Gay is, it's just the direction our franchise is heading. I want to see it. The big gripe that I had once again, and I'm sure you guys know because I always talk about Kessler, but why is Vanderbilt in over Kessler in crunch time? We have the mismatch with Jokic, and you have Na guarding him because they switched it, and he has to foul him. Luckily, Jokic missed one. It's like, okay, that was a really great foul, but why not have Kessler in on Jokic to give yourself a shot at just blocking the shot or getting rebounds? He leads the team, or no, Olynyk led the team in rebounds, but Walker was one behind him with 8. Just to me, doesn't make sense why he's not finishing. If he's going to be a starter, if he's going to be one of your most efficient players, he had the highest plus minus on the team. Why is he not finishing? And really, we can talk about refs all we want, but to me, that was a huge factor on why we didn't pull this one out. So I'm going to go over to, we've got Dallin and Kevin. I know we've got a few others in here. If you guys are wanting to speak, go ahead and request and I'll approve it. We've got JC's drip ready. So let's go to Dallin first, if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting game. Just the aspect of what we've kind of touched on of watching those young guys get minutes. I thought they played pretty well for the most part, and I was pleasantly surprised by Na, and I mean, it seemed like he took the role of JC tonight and took 20. I don't know how many shots he actually took, but
he had
it seems like
six,
JC's like 20 to 25 usually every night. So.
Yeah, I would say he was more efficient. He had 16 field goals and 10 threes, scored 27 points. So
yeah, and he only had like 2 or 3 assists, but yeah, and those turnovers were. But like Coach said, he's making the right reads. So yeah, I was actually pleasantly surprised. It was actually more of a exciting game than I thought it was, and was more bought in just because like our bench players were hanging with their starters, and thought Ochai did fairly well with the minutes that he had, and yeah, it surprised me that we stuck with them so well, and we must have just I haven't looked at the box score too closely, but limited the rest of their guys besides Jokic and Murray. And
Jokic had 31, Jamal had 30, but I think the big thing was
those guys would go for 30.
I think the big thing was they only hit 8 3-pointers to our 15.
Yeah, they were definitely cold from outside for sure. Yeah.
And 3 of those 3-pointers were from Contavious Caldwell Pope and Bones Highland. Jokic hit 1 and Murray hit 1.
Yeah, Bones seems to go off against us. He must like playing us.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say going off. He only shot 28% from the field and 42. So, I mean, he had 11 points that felt like they came at a crucial time. I think it was a really impressive defensive game for us. Probably one of the more impressive games, just considering who we were playing and the effort that we were putting in on, just playing defense, honestly, and then going for the rebounds. Like there was way more effort. It was obvious to me. And to have Jokic and Jamal Murray not really just go off on you. I think Kessler did a great job on Jokic. There were times where Olynyk's on him and Vanderbilt's on him, and it's like, there's not another guy you can put on him with everyone out to be effective. Maybe put Azubuike in tonight, but he didn't play at all. Maybe just to, rough up Jokic and get him a little bit more tired. But
I like the game plan of it, especially late in the fourth quarter, of every time Jokic touched it, as soon as he touched it, like you ran another guy at him.
Yeah.
It made him like think quicker about what to do.
Yeah. And during the, sorry, I'm like, can't think. as the clock was running down, we needed a stop really bad. I believe it was Beasley that came up behind him really quickly and got that steal. And then we went down and I think Beasley was feeling a little hero ball and shot a terrible three.
Yeah. No, and it's just super surprising to me that we had a chance to actually try to pull this one out. So that pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, compared to last night's game, this was way more entertaining. I was not expecting it to be entertaining. I actually was kind of tuned out the first quarter, just like, oh, we're going to get blown out eventually. And they just stuck around and were hitting shots. And I felt like, again, they were just playing free, not worried about running a certain play or trying to do a certain thing. And my wife was watching with me tonight, and she's like, she mentioned Coach. She's like, he's just always giddy. He's always just smiling. And I was like, well, not really. But tonight he was. And I think it was just because he was so excited for these young guys to get out and be playing so well together. I also thought Balmero had a good night. He didn't score any points. He had 3 assists, but like when he was out there, it didn't feel like there was a letdown. And I was impressed with him because he usually never gets minutes, and for him to kind of be ready was impressive. So I'm going to go over to Kevin, and then we're going to go to JC's drip after this. Again, if any of you guys want to chime in on this, feel free to request and we'll let you in. So Kevin, go ahead, man.
Man, where do I start with this game? First off, favorite game of the year. This is what I've been wanting all year long.
I was thinking of you this whole game, so keep going.
Why the hell do we have all these damn veterans and we're not just playing these guys? It's so much more exciting, and these guys can play. These guys can get up and down the court. They can play. Like, I hope that this wakes up Danny, and he's like, okay, I can make some trades, and we can still be competitive. I don't know. I'm sure he's got a plan. Also, will you please buy me a pair of those rose-color Kessler glasses so I can see Kessler in the same amazing light that you do? Because I just don't see it.
Well, numbers don't lie. He was the only one. He was the highest plus minus on the team tonight.
Mainly because Coach never lets him play against freaking homeboy Jokic.
Yeah, which didn't make sense either.
Well, it did, because every time Jokic was in the game, Jokic just put a 15-footer in his face and drill it. Like, he never took it inside on Kessler. He just took the 15-footer and drilled it. Like that was the thing, is like, he was just, Kessler could not guard him in the mid. And you can't just give Jokic those 15-footers all day long. He's like one of maybe 2 centers in the league that you can't, him and maybe a Bede, that you can't just let take 15-footers all night long. And I think that's why he put Vando in, because Vando can front him better at that mid-range, because Kessler was struggling. Like, when it got down, when he backed Kessler down and got his back to the basket, Kessler was great. But when Kessler was fronting him, I thought Kessler struggled a little bit. But maybe I was seeing something different. Maybe someone can correct me and tell me that I'm wrong. But I thought it was a great game. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm glad that your wife caught that. Jamie caught that about Coach, because he had an extra step, an extra jump in his step, because he got to coach tonight. Yeah. Like, every time one of these guys was coming off the court, he was coaching them. He was telling them how they could be better. And I really think that that's just kind of brought him to life. And that's why I'm really hoping that we do something at the trade deadline and we just give these kids a chance to play, win or lose. I think we're going to be better than people think. I think people think, you trade Conley, you trade all these guys. I mean, can you imagine these guys with this talent, and you just added Markkanen, who can shoot from the outside? Like, it's still a decent team. Maybe we don't win every game, but we still compete. And it's exciting to watch. It reminded me of the first 8 games of the season, where we just got out and we ran, and hella fun. great game. I'm so effing tired. I got like 3 hours of sleep last night, and I stayed up and watched this whole entire game because it was just nice to see these kids just get out and play and enjoy themselves. It was great. I loved it.
You were thinking about our friends in Uruguay and Finland, and you're like, I gotta do this for them. So
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I don't want to get rid of Markkanen. I love those fans. That's not what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to trade him, but like,
no, I'm just saying as far as staying up because
Yeah.
you're tired.
yeah, but it was a fun game to watch.
It was.
Like, it was. Everyone looked exciting. Yeah, we made a lot of mistakes, and yeah, the refs weren't our best friend, and they're never going to be our best friend when we're going up against Jokic. Like, when you go up against the Jokic's and the Giannis's and the LeBrons, they're going to get every single call every single time. It's nothing new. Michael Jordan got every single call against Jeff Hornacek and Karl Malone. Like, it's how the league has always been. The superstars get the calls, the other guys don't. And you can't get caught up in it. You just have to play through it. But Coach did the right thing. Coach has to get in his face. That's his job. He's the coach. But as a fan, like, I try not to let it get me too much because I've been watching basketball my whole life, and it's always been this way, man. If you got an MVP to your name, you can pretty much murder someone and get away with it.
Yeah. I thought for the most part, like you said, you're not gonna get certain calls because you're a rookie or they're an all-star. And we did. We played through a lot of it tonight. And also I felt like we contained Jokic and Murray, whatever, however you say it, Jamal. Like they didn't necessarily go off. Like it didn't feel like they were just unstoppable. So I thought it was well planned or well played. And then as far as you saying it was extremely fun, like I couldn't agree more. I now see why Kevin doesn't want us to play these certain guys and kind of tank. Like if you tanked this way, up and down the floor, these guys are playing hard. They're developing. You can kind of see the future with THT and Na and Kessler, and then you throw in Lauri. Like we really missed Lauri down the stretch. If we could have just had him for a few big buckets or a three, he would have probably made the difference in this game. So yeah, I think this is probably the first time I'm seeing through Kevin's lens, because we like to go back and forth and debate, but it was a fun game. Like the whole time I just thought whether we win or lose, this is incredibly fun.
Can you imagine, if we could play like this every night, and yes, it would be great to have the same record that we have right now, but let's say we're 4 games less, because I really do think, like, Markkanen probably still plays, JC's playing. I'm thinking maybe 4 or 5 at the most games we probably don't win, and maybe we have some games that go our way because we play with this hustle.
Yeah.
But we play with this energy every single night. It's just as much fun to watch a loss, in my opinion, when you play at this level, than it is to watch a blowout win or a high level win. I don't know. It's just me. I love it because it invigorates me about what
is
coming
Yeah.
for the Jazz. And I think that's why I get so frustrated with what has been going on the first quarter of this season, is I just don't see the path forward, because I see people like Conley, and I'm like, he's not going to be here. Beasley, he's not going to be here.
Olenek,
Bando, he's not going to be here. Olenek,
Rudy Gay, JC probably won't be here.
I mean, I don't want to say that because I really hope JC will be here. And I know that people get on him about jacking up all the shots, but to me, he's a character guy. He's a locker room guy.
He's a fan favorite.
If I got to pick one of the 5 starters to stay, I pick him over Markkanen. I know that some people think I'm crazy. I just love JC as a person.
I do too.
Maybe as a player, Markkanen is probably better. And I don't really know Markkanen as well as JC. I just love JC a lot. I just think he's awesome. But, when I look at, like, the 3 of the 5 starters and the first 2 people off the bench, I just don't see them being with the team in a year or 2. And if we're not going to go out and make a trade and go for it this year, what are we doing? That's where I get frustrated. And that's where I kind of bang my head against my wall, and I kind of argue with you so much about this. But tonight was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And
I
wanna
totally
hear
get it.
JC Drip has to say, because I know he's excited.
Yeah, I
I was
totally
just
get
gonna say
it.
expectations. Yeah.
Um,
That when we don't have any expectations to win,
uh-huh.
that's why when they play go out all out, we
Yeah, that's why the beginning of the season was so fun.
right.
Yeah, and you've got to kind of, I mean, tonight makes me think that even more than before that the Jazz are going to go out and make a trade, because now you kind of see these guys. And I mean, if you're hanging with the Denver Nuggets, it's not like they were depleted or had guys out. Like, these guys can hang, they can compete, and really they need more time to find their rhythm. We've talked about Ochai needing to be able to find a rhythm. Balmero might even be a piece, like a 10-15 minute guy that gives you something, but these guys
Hey,
can't.
I just want to call out that at the beginning of the season, I said Balmero could be our number 3 backup point guard, and Coach pretty much confirmed that tonight. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I thought he had great minutes. So it's I get where your frustration's coming, where you see these other guys that are veterans. Obviously, they're important pieces to winning, as far as Mike Conley, but even tonight, Jordan Clarkson's one of my favorite too. And I think we've brought this up before, or I've been seeing it on Twitter, let's trade Jordan Clarkson and get something for him. If there's a right deal out there for Clarkson and Conley, to me, you got to take it. I don't know what that deal is. I haven't thought about it a ton. I love Conley and Clarkson, but I'm going to turn the mic over to JC's Drip, because I feel like he might disagree, but we'll see. So JC's Drip, go ahead, man.
Yeah, no.
Don't hold back if you disagree either.
To me, I mean, I've been on such a high with JC for the last 2 or 3 years, even when people weren't on the boat with JC. Obviously, yeah, if the right deal comes up, you accept it. But to me, it has to be a really good deal for me to accept that. But pretty much, you guys covered everything. You said you were kind of tuned out the first quarter. I was tuned out the whole game up until the third quarter, because I had the game on. I was just playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And I kept looking down. I was like, we're keeping up. Like, this is actually a game. Third quarter comes around, fourth quarter comes around, it's still a game. So just really good effort out of the guys tonight for sure. 37 is Nas' career high. He hit that January of 2021.
37 with who?
37. Hang on. Just
New Orleans, I think.
He was playing the Clippers, and I remember actually watching that game. And that's kind of how he got on my radar. I was like, this guy can actually hoop. So, development has to be there for him to be playing at that, consistently at the high of a level. And I think his jump shot needs some work. But I knew he's capable of this, and that's why that's the beauty of nights like tonight, is it gives those young guys opportunity, more minutes to show what they're made of. And that's also the beauty of the season. Like, last year, we have the expectation to win, but when we're watching games like this where we're 5 significant players down, we have no hopes to win, and we could just kick back, watch the young guys play, and enjoy it.
Standing ovation. Yeah, I would not have guessed that Nas' career high was 37. But that's pretty impressive for any player to go out and score 37 in an NBA game.
THT's, I think, is 43.
Wow. With the Lakers or who?
Yeah,
with the Lakers, I think his rookie year, maybe his sophomore, but I think it was his rookie year.
Well, that's impressive too. So, so both of them had a season high. Let me correct that. I did not know that they both had games where they scored that many points, which is actually a good sign for us, because, like we said, if they get more time and can develop, you've kind of got a 1-2 punch in a guard line. That they could be, I don't want to say like Dame Lillard and McCollum, but if you've got 2 scores, kind of the same system like that, I think it could be really deadly. I know I want to kind of dive into this debate a little bit more. We've had it, and I think tonight is probably the best night to talk about this more. We've said, who's better, THT or Nah. And after watching tonight, I truly believe that they're both NBA players and could be a piece to this team or a trade asset, but I don't believe either one of them is better than the other just yet. I wouldn't commit to either one, but I think they both have different games. So when one's playing and one's sitting, you're usually high on whoever just played that game because they had a decent game. But I mean, they both have played when they got the chance very well this season. What is it with THT and Na that is different in their game?
Well, I mean, it's completely different. Na is going to get you as a jump shooter. He's going to pull up. He's going to shoot the ball. And THT, he's going to take it to the basket. Like, one's going to get to the basket, one's going to shoot the ball. Like, and THT struggles to shoot the ball. And Na, he was kind of okay tonight, but for the most part, he struggles to get to the basket sometimes. I think they complement each other really well. When they played together tonight, that was the one thing I noticed. They really complemented each other really well.
Yeah.
You saw THT would get into the lane and then kick it out to Na and give him a good shot, and then Na would do that little pump fake thing and then get the ball to THT as he was driving. Like they worked really well together. I thought it was impressive. When I saw the starting lineup, I was like, oh, here we go. Shit show about to happen.
And Coach played them together a little bit in the first 5 games. I would wonder why, because that's when they played the Kessler and Olenek and Markkanen lineups, and THT and Na played together.
Well, here's another point I want to hit on. You've got the starters with Vanderbilt and Olenek and then Kessler. I would go out on a limb and say Vanderbilt is our worst defender. And I think a lot of people are going to push back on that, but I truly believe he's our worst defender because he is just lost most of the time on where to be. He had a closeout tonight where he ran at the guy and they just blew right past him for an easy layup. I can't remember who it was, but my point that I wanted to get to is THT and Na are both good defenders. So if you've got 2 good perimeter defenders that can handle the ball, bringing it up, and then you've got Walker Kessler behind them, I feel like that was a recipe for success tonight on the defensive end of the court. What do you guys think?
So here's my pushback on that. I agree to you, sort of. I don't think those 2 would do as well as Vando does against the guys he's guarding. Vando's guarding the number 1 guy every single night. It's kind of like we all thought, what's his name? Man, I'm so tired. Homeboy we traded to Brooklyn.
Royce.
Rice
Oatmeal.
Rice Oatmeal was freaking awesome until he had to guard the number 1 every single night. And then he wasn't so awesome anymore. Everyone started trashing about his defense. But when he guarded the off-ball guy or the number 2, the number 3 guy, he could lock him down just fine. But he never did that. You see, Royce O'Neal was really good when we had DeMarcus Carroll.
DeMarre Carroll.
DeMarre Carroll, because DeMarre Carroll also was a really good on-ball defender, and they could switch back and forth, and he could take the bigger guys that Royce struggled with. And that's really when you saw Royce did good. So, yeah, I do agree. Vando looks really bad sometimes, but I think if Vando was guarding not their number 1s or not guarding bigger guys than him all the time, I don't think he would look so bad. But he's always guarding guys who are bigger than him, or he's always guarding their primary scorer. I think if he's guarding their 2 or their 3, his defense is a lot better. And I think if especially THT would struggle a lot against their number 1. Na, I think I like him defensively. I think he has a chance, but coach wants to put Vando on their number 1 guy or He wants to put him on a bigger guy all the time, and I think that is why he looks so bad. I really do. I honestly, truly think that that's his struggle. Is he's not matched up against who he should be matched up ever.
Yeah, maybe. I would agree to that to an extent, especially if he's guarding Jokic. Like that just shouldn't happen. The other thing I was impressed with, as far as Talen Horton-Tucker's defense, he got matched up on Jokic a couple times, and I felt like I would rather have THT trying to bang with Jokic than Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt just is so skinny. And really, the gripe that I have with Vanderbilt, if he was guarding the number one, and that's the reason why he sucks on the offensive end or he's tired, but his effort to me is just not there. Like he's rarely in a stance when he's playing defense. And just look at the difference between him and Simone Fontecchio. Fontecchio's butt almost touches the floor when he's in the defensive stance. And if Jared Vanderbilt would get in a stance and just hold his hands up, it would make so many passing lanes look like they're not there, especially if he's guarding the wing. The other thing with him and Kessler, and like the big gripe I have why Kessler's not in, I know if it shows what he had 3 blocks tonight, he had 8 rebounds, so not anything that just completely blows you away, but I think he affects the game and shots almost like Rudy Gobert affected shots to a point where that stuff will never show up on the scoreboard or the what am I thinking? The stat box, box score. And you really have to watch the game to see the effect that Kessler has on it. I mean, you can look at the box score and see it by the numbers as well if you really want to, with the plus minus. Vanderbilt -9, worst on the team. Kessler +4, highest on the team. And I would really love to see the net rating with. Too bad our boy Calvin's not on here to pull those net ratings. The net ratings for Kessler when he's on the floor. And I also would be interested in seeing the defensive net rating on Talen Horton-Tucker and Nickeil Alexander-Walker when they're both on the floor with or without Kessler, because I think there's something there. I could be wrong, but I think there's something there. And honestly, we haven't seen it a ton this year. So as far, go ahead.
100% to your point. Vando's a head case. He's got something wrong between his ears. Like,
yeah, just his body language most of the time.
Yeah. I 100% agree. Like, he's in his own head or something like that. I agree with everything you're saying. It's matchups are important too, and the way coach is playing them right now, this is my problem with the plus minus. This is why Kessler's plus minus tends to be a little bit higher than everybody else's, because coach doesn't put him in there against the number ones a lot. He pulls him when the number ones gets in there, and Vando always plays against the number ones, and so his minus is always worse. And so, yes, I think Kessler affects the game more, but I do think the plus minus is a little skewed because of who they're playing against. I think if Kessler was to play the same kind of minutes Vando played, I do think he would do better than Vando, but I don't think the discrepancy would be as large, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, because it's been something that's been consistent throughout the year where the bench players seem to have a plus minus that's in the positive and the starters have a negative, which is not a good sign. But yeah, it's been something consistent this entire game. The other player that really sometimes goes off is Aaron Gordon. I thought we did a good job on him. So, was it Na that had the block on Aaron Gordon? Or was it? I know that Kessler had a block on Jokic, which was fantastic, but somebody had a block on Aaron Gordon. Was it THT? Yes, it was. It was, because I posted that on my Twitter. And then THT has this move where it almost feels like he's spinning to the backside. It's almost like a spin move and then straight into a step back, which is crazy to me because most of the time he can't see the basket when he's making this move, but that's like his signature move to me. And I think it's a really difficult move. I tweeted, I don't know if anybody else in the league really has that move that they do as consistent. But it was a fun night with Coach too, just smiling, and he had that challenge call. Olynyk had a charge on some, I think it was Jamal Murray, and he challenged it, and then right after he was looking at his coaches, and he goes, "I was right, I was right." Like he didn't think maybe they would give it to him, and even Thurl Bailey said, I don't know if this is going to go their way. But it was just funny to see him joking around on the bench with the other coaches, because you don't see that a lot from Will Hardy. He's most of the time straight faced. And I had a thought too, and I want your guys' opinion on this because I don't think it's right. It's just a thought that I want to throw out there. Um, in the beginning, when we were playing so well and on this hot streak, it felt like we were playing a lot like we were tonight, just really free and careless. Not careless, but like you get what I'm saying. Just free, and everything was flowing, and the ball was moving, and shots were falling. And I had a thought: is Coach overcoaching these guys? Like, is Vando so in his head because he's being overcoached, and Sexton, we've seen Coach be hard on him. I believe coaches need to be hard, but also you look at Golden State with Steve Kerr and how he coaches, and it's just like you never see him getting on players really. It's just like any player that's plugged into that Golden State system seems to do well. But I want to turn it over to you guys. Do you think that's a possibility that coaches overcoaching these guys to a point where they're thinking too much?
Well, I mean, I think we talked about this when we first saw the change. They were just kind of running up and down the court, and then it looked like Will was starting to put his system in place, and he was trying to run some different sets and some offenses, and they were just kind of struggling to learn his system. And I think that really is what I think happened. And I think tonight, because there was such a weird lineup, I doubt that they practiced with these sets, with these lineups, that they just went out and they played, and they're just a bunch of young guns. And I'm sure like it was annoying and frustrating for Coach to watch him just probably butcher the crap out of his playbook. But at some point, like, you have to put your offense install your offense in there. And from what I've heard from some of the other coaches' interviews, he has a different offense that he's trying to put in place that not a lot of people in the NBA have seen before or are running. And it's a little bit different. So I know Lou talked about it, and Kerr talked about it in his post game too. He talked about how he was really impressed with some of the things that Will does on the court and how his sets are different than some of the stuff he's seen before, and he's excited to see his offense continue to develop in this league. So I'm sure it's just a difficult thing, and I think Vando, not being the most intelligent person on the team, is always going to just struggle try to pick up that offense. And I think he does better when he's just allowed to run up and down the court.
Yeah, my grandpa, I always go over there and he watches the games, and we talk about UFC, and usually he's on with things. Sometimes he's completely off just because he's older and doesn't watch other games around the league. But I went over there the other day, and I walk in and we kind of talk about the game, and he's just like, Vanderbilt, that guy does not have IQ. And he's like, I'm not talking about basketball IQ. He just doesn't have any IQ. So yeah, I struggle with him. Anybody else have comments as far as the coaching or kind of what might be going on with the starting group? Dallin?
I think I I mean, obviously, this is Will Hardy's first year coaching. I think he's trying new things out and seeing what works and what doesn't. And I don't. To me, the reason why he liked so much tonight is because we got to see him in his full repertoire of coaching, and he got to basically be the coach instead of having, like a Mike Conley, because he says he learned more from Mike Conley as opposed to. So he doesn't want to step on anybody's toes, and being so young, it's got to be so awkward to try to lead the room being so young. Much younger than some of these guys. And I just think he's just learning like Kessler as a rookie. He's learning what's going to work and what's not, and he's learned from some great coaches in the past. So that's one part that I really like, that a promising future for him. That I don't think he's overcoaching. I just think he's just seeing what works and what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and honestly, that was the first time I had that thought, is probably tonight, just because these guys were playing so well and free. The other thought I've had multiple times during this podcast, and I don't think we've really ever talked about it, is I can't wait to see what the team looks like and what Hardy's system looks like with an entire offseason to install this. Like, we didn't really know who the team was going to be up till the last second, even, who was going to get cut or not, or if there's going to be more trades. So yeah, I think you're dead on. He's first year coach. He's learning how to be a head coach. And so
yeah, and to get players in that he's able to coach. Like, he's taking on a system that, it was Quinn Snyder's system, or not necessarily because they didn't have Donovan or Rudy, but I mean, he did have, some Jordan and Mike still coming back. So he's got it. And I've liked what he's done with Jordan Clarkson. He's right up there with Lauri Markkanen as far as, I agree with, as far as letting them go, it'd be pretty hard. They would have to be a really good trade. And really, I think I was on board before the Exum draft that we would tank, and I sounded like Kevin before that draft, and so and then we drafted Exum, and then I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to tank anymore.
Exum was the answer, baby.
And so I agree. Like, let's let these guys develop. We're at it. What are we going to trade for? Are we going to trade for a Jimmy Butler? Or are we going to trade for a Kevin Durant just to mortgage our whole future for maybe a couple of years of, mediocrity? It's not. I think it is to develop these guys and to draft good players, and we're going to ride this out, and we're going to grow to like some of these guys, and we're going to grow up with them basically as a fan base.
Yeah. I want to go for the younger. I just think they're more exciting to watch, especially after tonight. You look at teams around the league, with Boston that was being able to rebuild. You've got New Orleans now that everyone's healthy. They had a big win against Phoenix Suns last night. You've got the Memphis Grizzlies with John Morant. So, you look at those teams, and it's taken a little while, right? But I think we've got pieces. And then if you can just keep adding a few more, obviously the Pelicans added CJ McCollum, which was perfect for them. Maybe we keep around a Clarkson or Conley to be that veteran. But yeah, I'm with you. I want to see the rebuild. And after tonight, I really want to see more of Ochai. I want to see more of Nickeil, THT, and I want to see less of Rudy Gay. I want to see less of these Olynyk even.
And I really like Malik Beasley's game, but he's not going to win you anything. I mean, if you can get a late first round pick out of him, for a team that wants a shooter, I'd be for it.
Yeah, and he was plus minus -8. So sometimes I look at this and talk to my grandpa about this too. Is Walker Kessler the best piece that we got in that Minnesota trade? You got Beasley, Vanderbilt, Kessler, and then 4 picks. But so far, to me, I think he might be your best. Second best would be Beasley.
For this Jazz team, yes.
Yeah.
And the picks, yeah.
I keep thinking as we're talking, I keep thinking of one of our very first podcasts when you invited the guy from Houston to come and chat with us, and how he talked about how painful the rebuild is and how it is a process and you have to go through. And I just am so afraid that this winning season and the way we're playing now is just giving us this false sense of comfort and giving us all this hope. And it's just going to get really nasty before it gets better. It's just lifting us up, and then everything's going to come crashing down, and next season's going to be horrible. And I hate that you have all these Jazz fans that are so excited, but we need to rebuild, because if we don't, we're just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if the draft class is supposedly better than the 23, if the 24 is better than the 23, then maybe you want to be worse.
It's supposed to be deeper, but not as top heavy. There's not supposed to be any one of the Scoot or Wimby's level, but because it's supposed to be like a double draft, I mean, you could technically have lottery pick level players all the way through 25 or 26.
I just want to say, I look back on my Jazz. I used to be a avid jazzfans.com poster on their boards. And I actually went back and got logged into my old account. And not to stroke my own ego or make my head any bigger, but I did want to draft Giannis and Rudy in that draft, because I've watched a lot of Draft Express, because you could watch all the before it was ESPN.
Man, could you imagine if we got Giannis and Rudy together?
But also the Exum draft, I was begging for them to draft Aaron Gordon. I wanted him so bad. And so I'm just saying, like, I wish we had like a Draft Express again that you could watch those videos.
Yeah.
I did not want them to draft Exum. I wanted them to trade down.
Me too.
I was not sold on that kid.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, look, he's not even in the league anymore. I think, Kevin, to hit on your point, I think we're so used to being built up as Jazz fans and completely let down. It's just in our DNA. But the thing that I feel hopeful about the most is, even if we're winning, we have so many draft picks that our options are not endless, but I mean, we have a ton of options. So depending on winning, losing, whatever happens, maybe we build up some assets, trade them away. I just feel like we're in a really good spot. And the painful thing about the rebuild is just waiting to see what's going to happen in a couple of years, because we've got these draft picks and we don't know what's going to come from it. I don't know if it will be as painful as the Houston Rockets rebuild. I mean, they've been struggling.
Yeah, and they traded that Christian Wood away. I mean, they wanted to build around him, and then they restarted their rebuild again.
Yeah, and then you have John Wall, and John Wall just doesn't even play, and now he's at the Clippers and he's doing well. I think their franchise is a mess in itself. But
maybe with the John Wall, to Kevin's credit, maybe they were winning a few games, and then it just set them back. And so maybe that's not the route we want. Maybe we want to lose a lot more and lose a lot of these close games that are contested.
I think it's tempting to not tank. I think, you want to win. I don't think, outside of fans, I don't think anybody in the front office, anyone in the coaching staff or the players want to go out and lose 60 plus games in a season. I don't think anybody wants to enjoy that. You want to put yourself in a position to win. Plus, you are required to spend so much money as an NBA team. You have a minimum salary you have to meet. And so, but it's just a fine line. I think, was it you who retweeted Justin's comments from that interview the other night where, you could kind of hear it in his comments, like nobody expected the Jazz to be this good. And he kind of admitted they're in a difficult situation. Like,
yeah,
they're good enough to be competent, but not talented enough to go deep enough to make it worthwhile.
right.
I think giving younger players that haven't proven themselves run to see what they are, like with watching Anthony Simmons right now against the Timberwolves, that the Blazers were patient with him for 3 seasons. I mean, granted, they had McCollum before him, but they were pretty patient with him. And now look what he's turned into. I mean, I think he's almost better than McCollum, to be honest. But
if we traded Mike and JC and Rudy and Beasley and Vando and just had a bunch of young guys around.
Oh, I think it'd be fun.
Around Markkanen, and we made the playoffs, I would be stoked.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even care about the damn draft pick. You know why? Because we have a bunch of young guys who are going to be with us for the next 4 or 5 years in the playoffs. Like, it's completely different than if we make the playoffs with a bunch of guys who aren't going to be here next season, the year after that. Like I can't stress that enough. Like, it's not that I don't want to make the playoffs. Like, if we made the playoffs with this team that played tonight, this young team, and lost in the first round, I would be proud of that. I'd be okay with that. If we make the playoffs with Conley, JC, all these people, and get swept or win one in the first round, I'll be so disappointed.
Yeah, because I mean, the main one that you got to think about is Conley, right? He's guiding this team, and how long is his body gonna last? Like he's been hurt a majority of this season. So I totally get what you're saying. Like if we make it to the playoffs with Conley being the leader, you're in a weird spot because it's like if we can rebuild in 2 years and Conley's a piece, maybe, but is his body going to be able to hold up? I just think
I don't think so.
I don't either.
I think we should do him a solid and trade him to a contender, to be honest, and get a couple good young players out of it and some draft picks.
So Tevin, you just joined. I was about to end this podcast. We had a couple more people jump in, but
sorry, boys, couple more minutes.
Yeah, you want to throw in your thoughts before
we can go for another half hour
before we go, or what are you thinking?
Kevin may be passed out by then, but
actually, no. I kind of want to piggyback off of what you guys were talking about earlier. The three of you. I think I have a question for you. Between us, San Antonio, and Houston, who's going to be back up in the ranks as far as like truly contending in the next, say, 5 years?
Oh, I would say us, but I think that would be easier to answer after this draft.
I would say Antonio's got some nice, decent.
Because I was going to say San Antonio's got some good pieces. I don't know what the crap Houston's doing.
Yeah, I would put.
I would probably agree. I think we need to give us 2 years to see if we're really close, and we just need to either develop or go get guys, or where we're at. But I agree. I think San Antonio, between probably the next 2 to 3 years, maybe getting 1 or 2 guys that are those it guys, but also just having a handful of guys that are good rotation pieces that are just solid. I think they already have them, and they're just developing them right now. So I agree. As far as your other point with getting some young guys, I think it would be interesting to go trade some guys that we have right now for some younger blood and get them in here and see what we can do with that, and just see where our pieces land. Because I'm like Fontecchio, even though he isn't younger, obviously. I think he's still a solid piece that we could have here in the next 3, 4, 5 years.
It's hilarious that we feel like 26 isn't young, because I would give anything to be 26 again.
Yeah, right. Well, and what's
No,
funny
I
is,
think we should free James Wiseman from Golden State. I think that would
Yeah,
be
that would be interesting.
do you really think he'd work here?
I don't know. I think he's talented enough that it would be worth a shot.
Well, I don't doubt his talent. I question his want to, because I've other than the
He was crying on the camera the other night. I mean, not that. I mean, I like that Rudy shows his emotions too. So
other than our one time playing the Warriors here so far, I've watched a couple Warriors games and tried to see if there's any like Warrior Twitter going on, and everybody's complained about Wiseman, and then there was one other guy that they complained about.
they're battling for championships though. So.
Yeah, and like the thing with the Golden State is like you need to be a shooter almost, and he's got two really good guys ahead of him, and Kuminga, and what's the other guy's name I'm thinking of, the big guy? Looney. There, I swear there's another one, isn't there?
I think
Wiseman is really solid, but
I think Wiseman's like a less talented Ayton. I think he's got the same attitude issue that Ayton has. I just don't think he's as talented as he is.
I would agree with that. Ayton is super talented, man. He just holds himself to a very, very high standard, which is a good and a bad thing.
I just think running Kelly Olynyk. I mean, I know that a lot of us aren't fans of Kelly Olynyk, but I just think running him, and like you're saying, like him winning us games and getting us the play-in game, like instead of just maybe having a James Wiseman, just seeing, well, maybe he gets it under control, or maybe if he's the focus of the offense.
What if you could? I mean, I could see Olynyk fitting in with Golden State because he can shoot. What if you could just do like a straight across Olynyk for Wiseman? I mean, who else? What other team would Olynyk fit into, as well as Golden State?
Spurs or Houston?
I like that because no, but I like the Olynyk deal to the Golden State, because if you could get their first rounder, or if they have their first rounder, then the potential of them being an injury away from missing the playoffs and then having a good pick is always there too. So
I think he'd be a good compliment in Philly. I think he'd be a good compliment in Milwaukee.
What if he went back to Detroit?
No.
If we could get Bogey back, I'd do it.
And then we'll be
This is what I'm saying. Throw him back in Detroit and have a go at it with back there.
I think
What
they're so.
about that kid that played in Sacramento? What's his name that Detroit has? I was watching some of his highlights and stuff.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Number 35. I can't. He was drafted by Sacramento.
Oh, Trey Burke.
No,
I'm just kidding. No, I saw a video today. Trey Burke is the Allen Iverson of the G League right now, and I watched a few highlights, and I literally thought he was Allen Iverson for a second, because he's got the cornrows now, and he just moves like him, and I'm pretty sure that was his favorite player growing up, but that's a little bit off topic. You guys don't have to talk about that. The other thing I wanted to segue into, and Tevin, I'm glad you kind of brought it up. Like Bagley, yeah. I'd be okay with Bagley.
I feel like he is a solid. He's almost like a big version of Jordan Clarkson, where like you need a big guy that can just go at it. What am I trying to say here? I guess like a second rotation, and we'll just manhandle a second rotation big guy, and I feel like he fits perfectly in that role.
Yeah,
because he's not necessarily a starting guy. I feel like he would fit. Like him and JC would just absolutely manhandle and slaughter pick and roll.
Yeah,
all day long. That was my thoughts. Every time I've seen him in Sacramento, because I feel like he has lots of talent. He just needs to be honed in and refined a little bit.
Just for the record, we've never had a problem putting a good second unit out. Like the Jazz are good at putting a second unit out. We need a first unit player at this point. Like, our second unit dominates everybody all the time. It's the first unit that sucks.
Talking about second units, I'm looking at the box score right now and looking at the Denver Nuggets. And that if there's a knock on this Denver Nuggets team, they don't have a second unit. Like, they're not very deep. You got Bruce Brown, Aaron Gordon starting, Jokic, KCP, and Jamal Murray. And then off of the bench, maybe your next best player is Bones. Highland Bones, you got the Christian Braun kid, Jeff Green, and DeAndre Jordan. Like, if one of their guys gets hurt, they're pretty much screwed.
Right. I mean, Bones Highland is kind of the only one to write home about. Everybody else is just kind of, they're all right. They'll do their job. Hopefully.
Yeah, so you're only 6 deep though. Like, that's crazy.
Right. Yeah, I think to make a deep run, they need to go get 2 or 3 legit bench guys that they can just throw in.
It's just crazy to me that you have Jokic, the MVP, one of the best big men in the game, and you're only 6 deep. Like, I don't know. I would be super depressed if I was a Nuggets fan.
That he's so durable, though.
Yeah, and the one thing is, if Jamal Murray can get back to where him and Donovan Mitchell were going at it in the bubble, maybe. But like, is Jamal Murray?
You know who Denver would I bet really really love to have. They probably would have gotten
Kelly Olynyk.
No, but that actually might be a solid pickup for them. Bowie.
Yeah.
Bowie would be a solid pickup. So that way, either maybe he could play the 3 and then move Gordon to the 4. And then have KCP coming off the bench, or vice versa. Although I would probably start Bogey and then bring KCP off the bench.
They can't afford Bogey.
Yeah,
they got
that's
no
what
money. It's all tied up in Gordon and Jokic and Murray.
But some teams just have to go all in.
Well, yeah,
and they should have done it. Oh well. But
they don't really even have a.
Kelly Olynyk is a decent guy to go after that. I feel like they.
Yeah, I think he could fit in there.
He's already won us a couple of games, so he'd surely win them a couple of games.
Yeah, I'd trade him for Jeff Green.
So I was thinking the other night, as much fun as that game winner was against
Golden State.
Golden State, man, that hurts us so bad. Like, we need Golden State to go on like a 12-game winning streak, because the West is so compact right now. Like, nobody's pulling away. And if nobody pulls away, nobody's going to make a trade because everybody thinks they're still in it.
So
like, we need them and Boston and Milwaukee. We need like 4 or 5 teams that just start running away with it. So these other teams that are right there start making stupid trades and giving away stuff that they know they shouldn't give away because they're trying to compete with these teams.
Yeah, so I've been trying to segue into this for the last 10 minutes, so this is perfect. Golden State tonight, and I feel like I'll let you guys say. Golden State tonight beat Boston by, it was 107-123. So it's like Boston to me was just running away with the entire league. They were head and shoulders above everybody else, and then Golden State goes in there and beats them. Are we going to see a finals rematch of Golden State and Boston? Because I'll never count out Steph Curry being able to make it to the finals. And
I know for sure we're going to have Milwaukee, Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, because while I know Philly's going to try and go for
they're not going to.
I think it's going to be Milwaukee, Boston again in the East Conference Finals. And honestly, I don't know between the two of them who would move on, but to be completely honest, I'm okay with either one of them because they're great, both great teams.
Yeah, and honestly, the only way Philly really is going to make any noise in the playoff is Georges Niang. Minivan's going to have to just throw it into 6th gear.
He's going to have to upgrade his transmission in his minivan for that to happen.
Get that turbo installed.
Y'all are going to think I'm crazy, but I still think Cleveland has a good chance to make it to the finals.
I don't.
I don't give them past the second round.
Yeah, I just don't think they can beat Milwaukee or
Yeah,
Boston.
how are they going to beat either one of those teams?
Yeah,
Because they got Donovan, man, Mr.
Oh my god,
Mr. Choker.
Yeah, Mr. Choker, who has the highest per game average in the playoffs of any active player in the league right now.
They blew a 19-point lead last night to Sacramento in the closing minutes.
Sacramento?
Yeah, they're not gonna.
light the
They're
beam.
not gonna do it, man.
Uh,
If they do, Kevin, remember how we had that bet?
Throw out last year.
No. Hang on, I'm making a bet for you. You have that bet. What was our bet again for you to take us to dinner?
The Jazz make it out of the first round.
Okay, if Cleveland makes it, they don't even have to make it to the finals. If they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, I will reciprocate your bet. That's my bet to you.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can taste the steak already.
How is Donovan Mitchell going to beat either one of those teams, though?
By the time he gets to,
First off, it
has Donovan ever been out of the first round?
No.
yes.
So he's basically another Tracy McGrady.
Against OKC, he was.
Yes, right.
Oh, okay. So he's not Tracy McGrady.
Yeah, but now that he doesn't have Rudy to give up all those points to Man, he should be able to make it out.
I just think by the time they get to that point, they're going to be so exhausted. His ankle's going to roll a few times, and it just...
Or somebody will bump into him inadvertently and hurt him. One of the two.
You're right. I do think they're one of the top 4 teams, but those other 2 teams are tough. But I could see
quick discussion back to the bet. By the way, didn't we a couple of us win the bet of Mike Conley playing before Christmas or before the holidays?
I don't know if we had a bet on that, did we?
I could have sworn Kevin said that he wasn't going to play before the holidays.
I did, but I would have never put money on that because that's crazy talk.
Yeah, if you can go back through all the podcasts and find that and clip it, then I'll buy you lunch just because we made that. But it would also help the podcast in getting a few more plays.
Does it count even if it's a replay?
Yeah, I think so. I would imagine.
Do my homework. That's where it's a.
Oh, here we go.
So,
Kevin, if we win the play-in game, does that constitute a first round?
No. It's just man. You're playing just to get in. That doesn't count.
No.
Yeah, you got to make it in. I don't think the play-in games count.
You got to get out of the first round. The play-in game, you're just playing with a bunch of other losers. First round's an actual contender.
Yeah, look at Pat Beverly last year on the scoreboard, acting like he was Dwayne Wade and LeBron James laughing at him.
He won the finals with that, bro.
so before you guys hang up, back to the original question: who's coming out of the West? Like, I don't see anyone but Golden State. Like, they've got to be the favorites.
Denver?
I'd say Golden State. No. Portland.
No, I think the Jazz.
Shut up.
I think the West is just such a jumbled mess right now that I wouldn't even.
Yeah, you have the Jazz.
Yeah. I would say I would put Phoenix and Denver probably in there. I want to say the Mavs just because.
Honestly, guys, if New Orleans stays healthy, I could see them coming out. The dark horse.
Where is New Orleans right now? Like, what are they ranked?
Dude, they had a big win over Phoenix last night. I think they're second or first.
4th or 5th?
No, they're second or first.
I just think when it comes down to it, with all that playoff and championship experience that Golden State has, they're just going to find a way.
Yeah, guys, listen to this. New Orleans Pelicans are first place in the West. They're on a 6-game winning streak. Memphis Grizzlies are second in the West. Dude, that could literally be the Western Conference Finals right there. And that would be entertaining as hell.
Literally, the Memphis Grizzlies are going to go to the NBA Finals and get the first-round draft pick next year.
Oh, my gosh. That's scary. And then Denver Nuggets fall in. Denver Nuggets and Phoenix are tied for 3rd and 4th. And then you got Sacramento. That's so crazy that Sacramento's in there. They actually have some good players.
Dude, I love Fox. I love that kid.
I love me some bonus.
Either whoever the GM is there in Sacramento needs to step up and bring some guys there. Either that or needs to make some blockbuster trades.
Maybe Olynyk.
I mean, hey, they're gonna need a bench too. Might as well.
Do they have any shooters though? Like good stretch
Isn't
fours?
Isn't Davion Mitchell a decent shooter, not just a good defender?
Yeah, but I don't think he's getting minutes anymore. I think he's going to join Butler in the G League.
I thought he was.
Way they pushed Davion down to the G League.
I don't know, man. I know that he was, but let's see. Where is he? Trey Lyles is on there. That could be a big guy for them.
Just stop. The only thing Trey Lyles ever did good for us was get us Donovan. Shooter, bro.
I couldn't stand Trey Lyles. I'm not sure on Davion Mitchell.
He's not going to want to work more than a couple hours of practice anyway.
Yeah, he'll start complaining about practices being 45 minutes.
Stop. We're talking about practice.
They got Red Mamba, dude.
Yeah, the West is just crazy. We're only 4 games out of first place. And I mean, you've got Dallas behind us with Doncic. The Lakers might be able to figure it out how to get into a playing game and then maybe go on a run if they're healthy.
As long as AD stays healthy, then they might do something. But no, I think let's wait for after these holidays starting in January, and let's just watch and see if Golden State or Portland or
I'm not a betting man.
New Orleans, and see if they can just get it going.
I'm not a betting man, and I probably wouldn't put my money on any of these teams right now because it's so close. And I'm not just saying this because they're 1 and 2. I would put money on Memphis or New Orleans coming out or making it into one of those teams making it to the Western Conference Finals, just because their defense, Memphis's defense, I feel like Memphis's team is built for the playoffs. The way that they can just dig in the grindhouse. And New Orleans is exciting, man, with McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson. They've got who's their big guy, Vujacic.
I just can't bet. I just can't put money on Ingram and Zion to stay healthy.
Yeah, I know that's the big thing. Well,
I can get on board with Memphis. I can get on board with Memphis, but I don't know. Golden State, I just can't bet against Steph.
Yeah.
And freaking, what's his name looks so good this year too. Klay Thompson is back. He looks so good.
I would say Golden State and Memphis just because Memphis already has a little bit of playoff experience against the Jazz. Obviously, I feel like John Morant's hitting that next stride. Their defense is amazing. And they're just figuring it out, on all fronts. So I would put Memphis and Golden State in the West.
Yeah.
With that said, I still think the Lakers are one good trade away from being there too.
Yeah, Olynyk and Mike Conley, man.
Olynyk and Mike Conley for Westbrook
and Beasley.
Serious,
throw Beasley in there too, man.
Dude,
if they got Olynyk, Conley, and Beasley from us,
yeah,
they'd be favorites.
I think they'd be solid.
So wait, so if we pull up that trade and we end up getting Westbrook, are we releasing Westbrook or is he coming to play?
No, he's getting bought out. We don't want.
I want Lonnie Walker.
Dude, I want Lonnie Walker so
Lonnie
bad.
Walker would
no, I want the picks. I'd rather have the picks than Lonnie Walker.
Lonnie
picks and Lonnie Walker.
Lonnie. Imagine the Vivint Arena just Lonnie.
I was gonna say, give me Lonnie Walker, give me both picks and Westbrook. That's a deal right there.
There's no way the Lakers are gonna give that up.
Dude, we'd have pure magic on the team if we had 2 Walkers. Kessler, and Lonnie Walker.
Yeah, that's why we need to bet on them going on a run here in the next 20 games.
Well, they've lost 3 in a row, so.
Without it, I mean, they're literally 7 games out of first place. And they're
but all they have to do is not get hurt, make it to a play-in game, make it into the playoffs, and then I'm telling you.
Or actually, let me correct that. To your point earlier, let's hope that Memphis and like Portland go on or no, Golden State go on a run and win like 10 or 15 in a row, and LA's like crap. Let's go. Let's
one of them has
pull this trade. Let's pull the trigger.
Or one of them has to go for a big trade. Like something has to happen to make them think that we have to do something. Because right now everything's so mediocre and muddy that like they probably still think they can get by if they just stay healthy, which they're probably right.
I would even trade for that shooter's Austin Reeves. I think he'd be a decent little shooter on our team if you throw in Malik.
I want the Uber driver.
The what?
The Uber driver.
Oh yeah, but he got waived. We could just pick him up.
Oh, let's do it.
Okay, well, I'm going to end this. I wanted to mention one thing, because for us being a first-year podcast, starting at the beginning of the year, really just starting my Twitter account, I've had the most viral Twitter of my Twitter career, and it is pinned to my profile of Rudy Mom's crying. Rudy Gobert's mom crying at the game when they were playing his tribute video. And honestly, I wasn't expecting to feel the feels that game, and watching her cry.
She's the sweetest woman ever, man.
And then I heard she still lives here, and I can't imagine. I'm sure she wished Rudy still played in Utah. And it just made me feel like, man, they really loved Utah and Rudy playing here, and us cheering for them.
She lived in France still and only visited on like occasions where she wanted to.
No, well, I swear Rudy in one of the pre-games before the game the other day said his mom still has a house here, and Rudy Gobert still has his house here. He slept in his house, and he said he got to spend time with his mom while he was here. So
I wouldn't doubt if she was like still in France or somewhere else and was like,
dude,
oh hey, my son's gonna come back to Utah. I'll just stay in Utah for a weekend, whatever it was.
Dude, how funny would this be? In 2029, Rudy Gobert gets to announce our first round draft pick back on the Jazz that we got in his grade.
If that comes true, I'll buy you like a week's worth of dinners.
Can you imagine? He comes back here. He comes back here after his contract's up, and in 2029, when we still have their draft pick, he gets to walk out on the stage and announce the draft. I hope with all my heart that happens. I hope.
Oh, that's the funniest thing I've heard on this podcast.
Right, so we can bring it back up in 2029.
Yeah, I'm gonna clip this right after. Maybe that'll be the new intro for the podcast.
Oh, even better. They're horrible, and he's our representative that we send to the NBA draft lottery, and he accepts the number 1 pick for us.
Oh my gosh!
And he has a suit jacket.
And then he just drops the mic after.
Mad props to Mama Gobert for raising such an awesome freaking human being.
Yeah, so back to my point, that tweet has 844 likes, which if it was at like 200, I was like, oh my gosh, this would be crazy if it hits 300. And if it hits 1,000, I might buy you guys some Jazz tickets and we go celebrate. It's got nearing 30,000 impressions.
You're really tempting me to have all my extended family just make a Twitter to be able to go do that.
If you can make that happen, I'm telling you, I'll buy us tickets.
You all need to go to a Jazz game, though, for real.
It'd be fun. And while at the Jazz game, record a podcast during the whole game. Do a live cast.
Just do it live, bro, and try and do it better than David Locke. Not saying that it's a bad call, because he's actually a really fun call to listen to, but try and do it better than him. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, so catch this, guys. You guys watched the game, the Rudy Gobert game, right? You know the guy that they kept flashing on the screen that kept holding up Rudy's jersey, but he wasn't wearing it, but he was kept holding up Rudy's yellow jersey?
Yeah. The yellow jersey that he had.
Yeah. So his name is Preston. Okay. I know him. He was the guy who Michael Jordan gave his shoes to in the 6th game.
How much are those worth?
The flu game.
Isn't that it? Hasn't he had season tickets since like forever?
Oh yeah, Preston is freaking ridiculously rich.
Well, why is he not on the podcast, Kevin?
Because he's an absolute asshole. I would never invite him. His brother's one of my good friends. He's a cop down in St. George. But yeah, I see him on the freaking shows all the time. But yeah, I was like, I guarantee everyone saw him because he's like doing the jersey. But yeah, he's the guy who Jordan gave his shoes to after his flu game.
I wonder if he still has them.
No, he auctioned them off for $120,000.
Oh my god!
They were supposed to go for like $80,000, and they went for $120,000.
Yeah, but how much are they worth now?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Just the other day, I watched a video of a shoe collector who has an authenticated. It was authenticated to be the last shot, the shoes that he wore for the last shot, and he goes, they're well worth over $1 million, and he has them insured for double that price.
Yeah, I don't know why they weren't so worth more.
They should easily be worth more than that.
They were sitting in a safe deposit box most of his life, and they were in really good shape. I've actually held them.